Hi everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be doing the Splendid Spring book tag. This book tag was created by Victoria Mann and her YouTube channel will be linked down in the description below. So when I watched her video she said to be like really chill about it, like you can choose which questions you want to do, you don't have to do all of the questions. So I'm going to try to answer all of the questions, but if I can't find a book to match a prompt for one of the questions, then I'll just skip that one. So let's see how this goes. The first one is everywhere you look, flowers are blooming. Choose a book you love or think you will love with flowers on the cover. None are coming to mind at the moment, but I'm gonna go check my bookshelves and see if I can find one. Okay, I found one that I loved that has a flower on the cover, and this is New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. Everyone knows what New Moon is. This is the second book in the Twilight series, and it's about vampires and werewolves and there's a love story in it. This doesn't really strike me as like a springtime book, it strikes me as more like a fall time or wintertime book, but it has a flower on the cover, so I'm going with New Moon for this prompt. Number 2 is spring is the perfect time for a fun trip. Choose a book you've read or like to read while traveling from one place to another. So this book I reread when I was in Europe and I was traveling on the bus going from country to country, and this book is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And I read this when I was in Europe traveling. This is the 4th book in the Harry Potter series, obviously. I feel like I don't need to describe what this is about, but I have very fond memories of reading this book while I was traveling in Europe. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but my cat is going crazy. Oh my gosh, I thought she saw a bug. She's going after her tail. Cats are weird. They are very strange creatures. Number 3, who doesn't love a good spring fling? Choose a book you were obsessed with for a short period of time, but then you swiftly cast it aside. For this I'm going with a book that I was obsessed with when I was 12, and then I quickly just like lost interest in the whole series. And this was Magic, but Magic is spelled weirdly. I don't think I have this book anymore. I think I got rid of it. So when I read it at the time, I really enjoyed it. I don't know why now that I think about it. It was just like a middle grade fantasy, and I was planning on like reading the rest of the series, but it was like so thick, and then I was obsessed with it for a few weeks, and the longer I sat with it I was like, I'm not really impressed with the story and the characters in the book, so I think I got rid of the book. I gave it 5 stars because I enjoyed it when I read it, but like the longer that it sat, the less obsessed with it I became. I cannot tell you anything that Magic is about. I wish I could. All I remember is that it is some middle grade fantasy and that I liked it for a while and then stopped liking it, so yeah. Number 4, everyone loves the smell of freshly mowed grass, but not at an ungodly hour. Choose a book that personifies as a middle-aged dad waking up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday to mow the lawn when he should be sleeping like the rest of us. This is hard, okay? But I'm just gonna go with a book that annoyed me, I think. And for this I'm going with Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. This book annoyed me because it really talks about like anthropology and philosophy and like things that like I felt like I should understand, that I should be taking away a lot from the story, but it annoyed me because I didn't understand. I didn't really take much from the story, and I just like suffered through the whole book. It was pretty short, but I still suffered through every page of the book and I did not like it, so I guess that's the one I'm going with for this prompt. This also feels like a book that a dad would be like, this is such a great and interesting book, you need to read this book, and they give it to their kid, and then their kid reads it and their kid's like, this is boring, Dad, and annoying. So yeah, Ishmael for prompt number 4. Prompt number 5, a surprise rain shower might spoil your outdoor fun, but don't worry, the sun will be back. Choose a book that made you really sad, but the sun still shines in the end. For this prompt, I'm going with 5 Feet Apart. 5 Feet Apart is by Rachel Lippincott, Miki Daughtry, and Tobias Ikonis. So this book is about 2 teens with cystic fibrosis. I've talked about this book a lot on my channel. Yeah, the book made me really sad. It really did, but the ending was very sweet and ended a little happier. I wouldn't say the sun would be like fully shining at the end of this book, but it was peeking through the clouds, you know, it's starting to come back. This book is really heartbreaking. It destroyed my heart, but then also rebuilt my heart and made me happy, so this is the one I'm going for with this prompt. Number 6 is that time of the year when all the animals stretch their limbs and come out of hibernation. Choose a book that pulled you out of a reading slump. This is a little hard because I feel like the way that I get out of reading slumps is like I start using Goodreads more, or I start using like book clubs more, and that's how I get out of reading slumps. So I'm just gonna go with the book that I read most recently when I got out of reading slump, but I wouldn't necessarily like claim this as like a book that like really helped me or anything. It just is the one that I happened to read when I got out of my last reading slump. So for this I'm going with The Fever Code by James Dashner. This helped me get out of reading slump. I was in a reading slump basically all of 2018, and then at the end of 2018 I read this book and I got out of reading slump. I don't really credit this book for getting me out of reading slump. I credit more that I became more active in book clubs and Goodreads, but as I was getting out of the reading slump I did read this one. The Fever Code is the sequel to the prequel to Maze Runner, so I think if we're talking like technical numbers, I think this is number 0.6. It's a little weird. This one is way less confusing, I feel like, than the original trilogy, so I really enjoyed this one. You get to see all of the Gladers as kids and get their backstories, hear their names before the name changes. So this was a very fun book that I really enjoyed. But if you aren't really into Maze Runner, you can just skip this one. It didn't really add too much to the story, but if you're a hardcore Maze Runner fan, you will enjoy it. Also, I think I have the first edition. Yeah, I have the first edition. I'm sure that a lot of people have this edition, but it makes me feel special to have the little thing there. Number 7, students all over exhale a sigh of relief knowing they get a break from school. Choose a book whose friend group you'd like to spend spring break with. I am going back to the Maze Runner series, holding up the first book in the series though. I would love to spend time with the Gladers. They all seem so awesome. Even the dead ones. I want to spend time with all of them, but the dead ones, I want to pretend that they're alive. Thomas, Newt, Minho, Gally, Albie. I want to spend time with all of them. I love them. They are such an amazing group of boys. Don't really like the girls in this series because they were poorly written, but the guys, I love them and I really want to hang out with them, and I feel like they would be like a good group to hang out with. Number 8, spring is all about rebirth and blooming. Choose a book that made you grow as a person. For this, I'm going with Embrace Your Weird by Felicia Day. This is somewhat of a self-help book that tries to get you to be more creative, and I feel like this helped me grow as a person. It gave me some tips for anxiety, and it gave me more ways to try and be creative. Like I drew a mana tree. I don't know if you can see that, because it might be too bright. Just got me to try and be more creative, not necessarily artistic because I'm not really good at art, but you know, it was fun, got me to think about life and things, so going with this one. Also, I have a signed copy. Number 9, a picnic at the park is the perfect springtime activity. Choose a book with a character who you think would pack the best picnic basket. I feel like Charlotte from the Vale Hall series by Kristen Simmons, this is the final book in the series, I feel like Charlotte would make a good picnic basket. I don't want to spoil what happens in this book and the second book, but there is reasons why I think she'd pack a good picnic basket. Not gonna spoil it, but like, something happens to her that makes me think she would be good at those types of things. She seems to have an instinct at things. I am trying so hard not to spoil it, like my brain wants to just like spew out like what is about her that makes me think she would pack a good picnic basket, but you need to read this series to figure out. This series is about a school for scam artists. It's a young adult series. I highly recommend. All 3 books are out. You can easily read through all of them. They're so much fun. Go check out this series if you haven't already. Number 10, for many, spring is the first break from the bitterness of winter. Choose a book that is the embodiment of sunshine. So for the embodiment of sunshine, I'm going with the book that makes me supremely happy. And this book is Heartstopper by Alice Osman. This is volume 1. I have not got a chance to pick up volume 2 yet. Heartstopper is a cute graphic novel that is a gay romance. It has really cute artwork and it just makes me so happy and just like brightens up my life. So it just reminds me of sunshine because sunshine is happiness and brightness and fun stuff. So definitely going with Heartstopper for this question. So that's all for the main questions of the tag. Okay, next up are some bonus questions, and I don't really have anything else to do with my day today besides film this video, so I'm gonna do the bonus questions. Letter A. The world around us is being reborn right before our eyes. Choose a book whose movie or TV adaptation reignited a dormant obsession. For this, I'm going with A Series of Unfortunate Events. The series was written by Lemony Snicket. I read the first 3 books when I was in elementary school, and then I sort of lost interest in the series. But then when the Netflix adaptation of the series came out, my love for the series was sparked again, and I really loved the series. I became so obsessed with the world and the characters again. It's also making me want to buy the rest of the series that I didn't read and read it, but I don't know if I'll end up doing that because I know that there's like 13 books in the series. But yeah, A Series of Unfortunate Events. The show was phenomenal and reignited my love for that world. It's a very depressing series, but also a very fun series, and it is made for kids, but I fully enjoy the series as an adult. Letter B. There couldn't be a more perfect time to discard cluttering items with a little spring cleaning. Choose a book you've held on to for far too long, either physically or in your heart. I have been holding on to the Nancy Drew series far too long. I was reading these with my dad when I was in elementary school, and then I sort of lost interest in the series once I started to get old enough to like read stuff on my own. I have like tons of these books that I still need to read because I don't like to get rid of books until I read them, but I own like at least 20 books in this series, and it's just like not a series that I'm really that interested anymore. And when I finally get to the point where I can move on from this series and move on from my childhood attachment to the series, I will definitely be getting rid of it because I don't really have an interest in the books anymore. I like the Nancy Drew movies. I want to finish watching the TV series, but the books I've just lost interest in. So this is one that I'm holding in my heart, and I'm holding on to a lot of copies of the books. But I should discard them in a bit of spring cleaning. Don't know if I'll do it this year, but maybe next year. I don't know. Letter C. Spring is the perfect time to try something new. Choose a book that features an activity you'd like to try or a place you'd like to go. Okay, so The Black Flamingo by Dina Ta is a book that really revolves a lot around drag queens. And I really want to go see a drag queen perform. I think that'd be really fun. So yeah, that's an activity that I want to try. I don't want to necessarily like be a drag queen, or I think in my case it would be a drag king. I'm not really sure if you're a female, if you're a drag queen or a drag king if you do it, but I would love to watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'd love to see a drag queen perform because I think that would be really fun. Letter D. Springtime may be lovely, but the allergies it brings are not. Choose a book with a side character / second POV character whose presence is unwanted. I'm doing unwanted like for me personally, and I know that other people would want this character's point of view, but I could care less about him. So for this, I'm going with the Match trilogy. This happens to be the second book, which it's the one that I can find easiest right now, but it's the only one that I own that doesn't have a cover. It's by Ali Condi. Maybe I'll open it up so that you can see the title. I could care less for Kai. I had no interest in Kai. I did not care about him at all. He just did not spark my interest, and I get why people like him, but I'm more of a Xander girl and not a Kai girl. And so yeah, he is a perspective that I did not want, and I suffered through every chapter that was his point of view. And his point of view is only in Crossed and Reached, I believe. I don't think he has a point of view in Matched, which is the first book. And the final prompt is letter E. With each new season comes a new color scheme, and spring does it best with pastels. Choose a book with a pastel cover that you love or you think you will love. This yellow is a sort of pastel yellow. It doesn't look very pastel yellow in the camera, but when I'm holding it now, it sort of looks pastel yellow. This book is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I have the Sprayed Edges edition. I love Nicola Yoon's books. She is one of my favorite authors of all time, so I am really hoping that I will love her husband's book. Oh, and I think the Naked book. That is pastel. That is very pastel, so this counts. I have been meaning to read Frankly in Love since I pre-ordered it when it first came out, but I've not got around to it yet. Maybe I'll get around to reading it this year, but I think I will hopefully love Frankly in Love by David Yoon. All I know so far about this one is that it's by Nicola Yoon's husband and that there's some fake dating in it. I'm not a huge fan of fake dating, but I do want to give that trope another try, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. So that was all for the prompts for this tag. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a big ol' thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. Feel free to hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I make a new video. I upload new videos every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday on my YouTube channel. I hope all of you are having a lovely springtime, and I will see all of you in my next video. Goodbye!